Welcome back to Hardball. Now with our new feature, the Friday Fix. What happened all this week in the campaign trail? Let's bring in our roundtable to get the fix. MSNBC political analyst Craig Crawford, the Politico chief political columnist Roger Simon, and the Nation magazine for Time magazine. What is that? The Nation editor for Time magazine, Amy Sullivan. Time's cover story this week is, by the way, is about Barack Obama. Wasn't that Newsweek last week?
It was not.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting it wrong. Let me ask you this about Hillary Clinton. Let me go to Craig Crawford. Craig, you often have a soft spot in your heart for Hillary Clinton. I thought she was very... Oh, you do, my friend. You do. I watch you. She was very effective tonight, I thought, in saluting the young campaign workers who basically man and woman those storefronts all around the country, who come out and work, give up a semester of school. I thought it was nice what she said tonight. I also like the fact that she came out and met with the press after this moment. She didn't hide somewhere.
Yeah, she looked pretty strong, and dare I say, a bit presidential. Now that you mentioned my soft spot, I guess
I knew I could get that out of you, Craig Crawford.
I thought the scarf and coat looked great. She had the right things to say. This will be an opportunity for her, I do believe, Chris, when she goes up to New Hampshire, to show a little of a human side, talking about these young people and their sacrifice and their parents and the police. And this will be a real showcase for her.
Well, I just love it after a police incident, Roger, when the person shows up, whether it's the police chief, the mayor, whatever, show up, let us see you on the street corner. There she is, literally, on the curb in front of her house. We should see more of that stuff from her. By the way, she's been accused this week of hiding from the press. Do you notice?
Imagine that. As if it doesn't happen every cycle for all of them. But you were right. She's letter perfect. She was pitch perfect. She looked presidential. And she managed, without seeming to spin this semi-tragic event, like nobody was hurt. It didn't look like she tried to use it, but she said all the right things. The wonderful volunteers. She mentioned the state of New Hampshire, fairly important state, and she's flying up there to be with them, not because they're so shattered, but because it's a smart thing to do.
Dryly allowed by Roger Simon. Thank you. Amy Sullivan, do you agree? I thought she looked like a president there. I agree.
Yeah, you know, it's absolutely a difficult day for her, and obviously it's got to be frightening for her as well. But she sounded very presidential. Her tone was exactly right.
Let's talk about the dogs that didn't bark during the Republican debate this week on CNN. We all watched it. It got a big audience, I must say. You know, everybody here, starting with Craig, it seems to me that if the Republican Party is the party of defending the, quote, war on terror, which they call it, which includes all wars we're fighting, is that, in fact, something they don't really want to talk about? They may be winning on the surge issue right now, but I didn't hear anybody bring it up anywhere during that 2 hours plus debate this week.
And they don't bring it up, out on the road. I've been out in Iowa and New Hampshire 2 out of the last 3 weeks, and it's remarkable to me, 2 things, Chris, that the candidates don't bring it up much, and also the people at their events who ask them questions very seldom ask anything on that point. Iraq and the war overall has receded a bit from the landscape, but I'm sure it'll come back. But I've been struck in the last few weeks at how little that is discussed on the campaign.
The only guy to bring up the war with any regularity, of course, besides John McCain, who's an old warrior, is Ron Paul, the one guy who opposed the war. Amy.
Well,
and by the way, I just want to say about Ron Paul, I did a count in New Hampshire on the road. That guy's got at least twice as many yard signs as any other candidate combined in New Hampshire.
Well, I would like to do a whole hour with Ron Paul because it reminds me of the old party, the paleo conservatives of Barry Goldwater. What do you think,
Well, he's got a lot of yard signs. He's got a huge audience everywhere he goes, and the war has to be a big part of it. You know, it does set him apart from
I got to end the Pollyanna here after this. One last word nice about it. We're going to get negative here.
The Democrats don't want to bring up the war because they're afraid it's getting better. The Republicans don't want to bring up the war because they're afraid it's going to get worse.
Good point. Excellent.
I love it. Let me go to you, Craig, on Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani has had his first bad week in the campaign. He looked a little nasty, to put it lightly, in that debate in Florida, in St. Petersburg. But also, the press is on his tail. They are chasing him on whether he gave fair, accurate, and revealing booking records on the cost of all those weekends with Judith out on Long Island all those years.
His explanation for this is just too cute by half. That the police department was slow in paying bills, so that's why other agencies were paying them first and getting reimbursed later. I think those kind of answers might work in local politics, but on the national level, I thought it was unseemly to try to make that excuse.
Roger.
I think people will cut politicians a pass on having affairs, but I don't see why the public should have to pay for it. I really don't even. I know why he has to have protection 24/7.
putting guys up, putting Secret Service people types up at hotels at hundreds of thousands of dollars a cost.
Yeah, the taxpayers of New York are very lucky his girlfriend didn't live in Vegas or San Diego or Honolulu. I mean, it would have been millions of dollars. I understand why they need protection 24/7. We saw today why people need in public life need protection 24/7. But why do the taxpayers have to subsidize it?
Look at all the money Bill Clinton saved by having his affair on campus.